Hey soldiers, artificial intelligence is primed to take over 300 million jobs. This is not something that is going to happen 10 years from now. It's not something that is, like the flying car. It's always out there, but never really realized. It's happening right now. Now, for those of you, because I know a lot of people say, hey man, this is a downer. Look, this is reality and we better get prepared for it, because if we ignore it, then there's no chance we'll be able to adapt to it and overcome it in our situation. So we're going to look at the jobs that are being taken now, right now, by AI. And we're going to see a trend develop in these prognostications that say that hundreds of millions of jobs are going to be eliminated by AI. Let's talk about how we overcome that, okay? How we deal with that. Now, let me be the first to say, if this is true, and way back in the channel's history, we did a video on the projection that 800 million jobs globally would be lost to artificial intelligence by the early 2030s, okay? Now, they're saying pretty much we're halfway there with this projection for the United States and Europe, right? We'll see that in a second. If that happens, guys, the economy that we know of is done for. And now this could give us some inclination as to why we are seeing these strange changes in the global economy. All right. Capitalism would never be able to survive losing a sizable portion of the consumer economy. Okay. It just won't work. And we are not Star Trek here. So we're not post scarcity. Sure, you could come up with a different type of economic system if you're post-scarcity, but we're not there yet. So look, what is going on? How can we thrive through this? Guys, we're going to be thinking on our feet for the rest of our lives, because look, back in the day, the computer revolution caught many people by surprise, all right? It left them out in the cold. My uncle was a plumber in Baltimore City. And one day he had read some article about computers and his mind was blown. He didn't know a damn thing about computers, but he understood that they represented the future. He came bounding into our house and he's like, boys, me and my brothers, y'all got to get into computers. You got to get into computers. And we knew about computers because they were starting to teach it in the schools, so we were familiar with what computers could do. He wasn't, but he knew it was the future. Now, a lot of people in his generation, baby boomer generation, got left behind in that revolution, okay? My aunt used to work as a directory assistance operator, and she worked there for 40 years. When she retired, she bought herself a computer, and it was just so hilarious to see her interact with the mouse. She'd never done that before. And she was like doing like this, and it was just a wild experience for her because she had no computer literacy. So it was taking a fish out of water and putting them in this new environment. We literally cannot afford to get trapped like that. Things are moving too fast. My aunts and uncles, they still had time, okay, because things weren't moving as fast. But today, someone starting out like my sister-in-law, okay, who's a young lady who works for Meta, she could very well get lost in the sauce with all of these advancements and displaced by AI. We got to make sure that if that happens, we're still ready to roll and on the road to financial freedom. So IBM, okay, makes sense, right? IBM to stop hiring for roles that can be replaced by AI. Nearly 8,000 workers to be replaced by automation. 1 month ago, to much dismay and widespread denial, Goldman Sachs predicted that AI could lead to some 300 million layoffs among highly paid, non-menial workers in the US and Europe. Let's talk about the magnitude of that number. 300 million people is almost the entire population of the United States of America. We got roughly 325 million folk, men, women, and children here in this country. So if you take 300 million people, space this out between, and when they say Europe, I'm sure they're talking about the EU, countries, that'll be just devastating, okay, to lose that many jobs. Now, will governments be okay with losing that tax revenue? Okay, we got to ask ourselves that. Will they be okay with losing that gross domestic product? Okay, I don't know. And for those of you who may say, Tyrone, you're a Luddite. You hate technology. That's not true. I love technology. I don't understand technology to the, furthest extent. I can't tell you how this, computer works or this tablet or whatever works. But I love the conveniences and the increased productivity. How could I not love technology when this very platform has allowed me to reach a global audience? I don't even know who the hell I would have gone to back in the 1990s to reach a global audience. And if I found someone, they would have charged me millions of dollars, which I did not have. The BBC is the only organization that I can think of that had a truly global audience. Because we know that here in America, World News Tonight, that meant national news, okay, for the most part, unless the U.S. was in a war and it would cover something overseas. But other than that, that was it. So I love technology. I'm not a Luddite at all. But I do know that when we've seen other technological advancements in the world, in our history, those advancements coincided with another opportunity that humans could take advantage of. So yeah, buggies, horse-drawn carriages were losing market share to the Model T Ford, okay? Sure. But that did not mean that the person that was manufacturing those buggies was just totally out of opportunities, okay? That meant that maybe they had to retool their factory and create something that was used on the Model T, or go get a job at the assembly line, the Ford assembly line, okay? There was still opportunity. And in fact, if you look throughout history, there's been more opportunity. Because what the Model T did and the proliferation of roads, it created a market, okay? So I would argue that the higher percentage of the population was able to afford transportation under the new technology, the Model T, than were under the previous technology. That's not how it's going to be in this AI revolution, because AI can think 100,000 times faster than you. And that's right now, okay? Wait until it advances even further. This thing is out there. First we had the big box VCR. Remember that? Cost $1,000. Now you can't find one. But that thing got down to the point where it was, it cost a fraction of that. So all of those things were reduced. More opportunity was created, not with AI. All right, so we're looking at losing 300 million full-time jobs. They go on to say 2/3 of occupations could be partially automated by AI. 2/3, that's 66%. So if it's partially automated, that means less in terms of money being paid to folk to do certain jobs that AI has now taken away and has started doing. Goldman's forecast was met with emotions ranging from incredulity to outright mockery. It may not have been too far off the mark, though. And naturally, you would get that because, again, this is a sea change in terms of the economies that we've developed as a human society. So, yeah, you're going to get some people that are cognizant of what's going on, and they see the downstream effects, and that can elicit an emotional response, I'm sure, at least initially. Consider that just last week, Dropbox said it would lay off 16% of the company, some 500 employees, as they sought to build out its AI division. So they're going to be hiring people they're going to lay off 500 people, okay? Bring in some folk to help them with AI. It's not going to be 500. It's not going to be one for one. Probably be less than 25% of the people they're laying off. They're going to bring them in, and then they're going to have those individuals work on that AI piece. And then once that's done, probably won't be a need for as many of those people. Dropbox's layoffs were lateral and meant to open up space for more AI-linked hires. In the case of IBM, it is AI itself that is making workers redundant. As Bloomberg reports, IBM CEO Arvind Krishna said the company expects to pause hiring for roles it thinks could be replaced with artificial intelligence in the coming years. As a result, hiring in back office functions, such as human resources, will be suspended or slowed, Krishna said in an interview. Now look, that HR piece, ripe for AI, okay? Especially if that looks so attractive to a lot of companies because they say, if we got something that can think 100,000 times faster than a human and can look at these candidates algorithmically and objectively, then we can basically lower our cost for a portion of the company that is not bringing in revenue directly, okay? So that's the business motivation behind this. Now, it does have ramifications for folk that are trying to get jobs. I remember my first real job and how I got it. I pounded the pavement. I used to go to Kinko's daily and bang out resumes and drop them off in office buildings, okay? Back when I had first gotten out of college. And one day, I'm walking up Charles Street in Baltimore City. I've got on my polyester black suit. I'm 20 years old. And the suit is, at this point, it's shiny. You know how those cheap suits, you iron them too much and it gets shiny. But hey, I had on my suit, right? My button-up shirt, my tie, good to go. I'm pounding the pavement, man. I'm dropping off resumes. I'm asking for opportunities. And so I see this sign on the phone company's office door. It says, Human Resources Office. Jackpot. So I knock on the door, and a lady comes out, and she says, can I help you? I said, yes, I'd like to give you my resume. I'm looking for a job, blah, blah, blah. I'm the greatest person you ever want to meet. Now I come in here and get my foot in the door, and, this is my thinking. I'm going to come into this company, take any job they offer, get my foot in the door, and just take it from there, right? So she said, hey, do you have some time? And I'm thinking, lady, I got nothing but time. I'm looking for a job, right? I said, yes, ma'am, I have time. She said, I want you to come in here, and I'm going to give you a battery of tests. Yes. I don't know if they test you for jobs anymore. It's probably discriminatory, probably hit you with a lack of equity. How can you be expected to succeed because you grew up in the ghetto type bull crap? But I said, yeah, I got time. She gave me a battery of tests. I did well on most of them. The one for customer service, I failed. Okay. And I'm glad I did because it took my career in a different direction. They hired me to be a part-time term meant they only guaranteed the job for 2 years, part-time term telemarketer. So we've probably spoken before, around about dinner time. And I took the job, okay? That's the first job I had at what is now Verizon. I started out as a part-time term telemarketer, and I ended as a lobbyist who had traveled all around the world for Verizon doing their business, okay? Representing them. So I think I did fairly well with that opportunity. However, my point with that is no longer will you be able to knock on a door and appeal to someone, be able to exude personality, okay? Be able to ingratiate yourself personally, all right? AI is just going to look at some factors that are preloaded and circular file for those who don't meet the criteria. All right. So Krishna goes on to say that as a result, hiring in back office functions such as human resources will be suspended or slowed. These non-customer facing roles amount to roughly 26,000 workers. This is according to Krishna, who goes on to say, quote, I could easily see 30% of that getting replaced by AI and automation over a 5-year period. So 5 years come and go like that. Think about the people who've got 10 years at the company. In 5 years, it'll only be 15. They're nowhere near 30 years, right? In retirement. So this could snag a lot of folk that are out there right now. That would mean roughly 7,800 jobs lost in one company within the next 5 years. Part of any reduction would include not replacing roles vacated by attrition. So those folks who just retire out or leave for other opportunities, they're not going to replace those people. Krishna's plan marks one of the largest workforce strategies announced in response to rapidly advancing technology. It certainly won't be the last, as virtually all companies follow in IBM's footsteps and lay off tens, if not hundreds of millions of workers in the coming years. Mundane tasks such as providing employment verification letters or moving employees between departments will likely be fully automated, Krishna said. And while some HR functions such as evaluating workforce competition and productivity probably won't be replaced over the next decade, it is only a matter of time before these roles are also replaced by AI. So, listen, if you got or you think you have a future in human resources, think again. AI is quickly vanquishing that notion. IBM currently employs 260,000 workers and continues to hire for software development and customer-facing roles. Finding talent is easier today than a year ago, Krishna said. Of course, because look at the layoffs in the tech sector. A lot of people with that expertise need jobs. The Armonk, New York, based IBM beat profit, blah, blah, blah. So helping the company's imminent transition to an AI-staffed corporation will be the coming recession. Okay, now we profiled that. We've talked about how these financial services companies pretty much are in lockstep agreement with the notion that we will be facing a recession later on this year, 2023. Even the Fed is predicting that. In fact, the Fed wants that because they want their mandate is to slow inflation. There was a heated exchange between Senator Elizabeth Warren and Jerome Powell a few days ago on that question exactly, because now she knows the economics of it, but she's got a grandstand, right? So she's up there and she's browbeating them, and it'll translate into some votes. She's our champion. Meanwhile, you go back to your job at IBM and you're getting laid off, and AI is the guy that's replacing you. So how do we deal with this? Listen, and now's as good a time as any to share this with you guys. So my wife and I have sat down and talked extensively about this. We know it's coming. We're not scared of it, and we're going to thrive through it. What are the things that we can do that AI can't do? Well, right now, anything dealing with emotions and creativity, we're still better at. Okay. Now, I'm not going to make any predictions as to how much longer we'll have the monopolization of those areas, but right now we are. So my wife and I, we have a little project that we're working on. We actually are sci-fi fanatics, and we have created another YouTube channel. It's not news or anything like that. It's just pure creativity where we engage in these sci-fi / mysterious stories, and we just put them out there. We'll see how it works. I'll give you guys more information on it upcoming. The channel is up. It's called The Dark. I'll link to it. Doesn't have any content on it yet. We have content waiting to be released. Okay. We got to get a critical mass of content for this thing. I bring it up because we are definitely more creative than AI is right now. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody become a sci-fi author, but that creativity piece, that understanding of emotions piece is something that we're not going to see AI, even when they become capable of it, will other humans be able to relate to it like they are with, a fellow human being. Okay. I think we're a long way away from that. As far as robotics is concerned, for these young folks coming out of school, think about this. And this is something I learned as a firefighter. Every house is different. Every floor plan is different. People put the coffee table over here in this house and over here in that house. And as a firefighter, when you have to go through a house that's filled with smoke, everything's so different. Plumbers, air condition, HVAC repair people, electricians, AI and robotics is not going to be able to deal with such diversity in landscape, floor plan, that sort of thing. So we have got to discover those opportunities that we can exploit the ways in which our brain still works. Sitting at a desk and entering, data, that's the AI is going to be, far and away better than us at that. Okay. Looking at resumes, maybe I should hire him. No, AI is going to blow us out of the water with that in the short term. So if you are in school right now, or if you are starting a business, take a close look at what the potential for AI is. So think about that, guys. AI is not coming. AI is here, and it is starting to actually take jobs from human beings. Now, what I want you to do is watch this video. Everything will belong to the Fed. This is another evolution, another part of the evolution of our society and the economy. CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Did you know that the Biden administration is developing a plan whereby you will not own your money? That's right. This Federal Reserve note right here, I own it. I can save it. I can spend it. I can give it to charity. I can throw it away. I can do whatever I want with it. But under Biden's new rules that they are developing in conjunction with the Fed, you won't own this. It'll be programmable. It'll have an expiration date. Watch this video, learn more, guys. I'll talk to you soon.